Hi everyone, welcome to our second Kerbal Space Program video. In this video, we will be sending a space station to Ike. So pretty much what we will be doing is making a space station around orbit in Kerbin, then sending that over to Ike, pretty much like NASA's gateway system to the moon. If you haven't noticed by now, this video is pretty long, so I have left timestamps down in the description, and as well as on the play bar below on your YouTube video, you can see little segments in case you want to skip ahead to a certain part. But anyways, here is the build of the first module, the power and propulsion unit. This unit will pretty much have the batteries to the whole thing and the fuel tanks and engines which will power the journey to Ike. So pretty much this space station will have the power and propulsion unit, it will have a habitation module, it will have a lander, and a crew module which will transport the crew back to Kerbin. So if you'll excuse my sniffles, I have very bad allergies today. But here's the rocket I've built for the power and propulsion unit. We will be launching this to Kerbin. So anyways, this will be using 2 nuclear engines along with lots of liquid fuel to power our flight to Ike. So as you can see, there's our flight, our rocket flight there, and yeah, the stage separation didn't work out well, but I looked at the Delta V, we had way more than enough, so I just kept going with the flight. So there you have it. So now we're slowly gravity turning and going back to Mars, or going into orbit, sorry. Yeah. So, sorry I haven't been able to make many videos. It's been like, 2 months since our last video. It was just because my computer it started not working well with Kerbal Space Program. So, I got a new laptop and this one works great. So now you're looking at the build of the habitation module. This has the hitchhiker storage container and the science lab to keep our Kerbinauts busy during their journey to Ike. And the habitation module has that hitchhikers, that way we could store enough food to keep our Kerbinauts hopefully alive. And as you can see there, I'm just playing around with the robotics, trying to get the solar panels to look pretty cool. So yeah, and I also decided to have a lot of those RTGs on there, just so in case we lose sunlight, we can still have lots of electricity flowing in. So yeah, it also has that giant relay dish on board, that way our Kerbinauts have enough internet access. And so this module will be docking to the power and propulsion unit we just launched, and you can see it has that senior docking port, and on the top it has those medium-sized docking ports. So the medium-sized docking ports are for the lander and the crew module, and the senior is obviously to dock to that power and propulsion unit. So I'm making the rocket there, and yeah, I really like those new mainsail and skipper engines along with the Poodle, and how you can change the variants along with like the Terrier. Tell me what you think about the new updates below. I personally love them, especially those new fairing colors. But anyways, yeah, there's a habitation module. And yeah, so here's the launch right here. It's going off, and as you can see, I decided not to have those boosters on there just because I had bad luck with them, and I just thought I didn't need those boosters. I had enough Delta V, it's just too many parts, so I just took them off. So yeah, we're just going into orbit and finding the power and propulsion. And for the sake of the video, for the sake of time, I just skipped me getting that encounter and skipped to the docking part, just because, yeah, this video is already really long. So yeah, so I switched over to the power and propulsion unit because that one actually had controls on it. So yeah, we're getting close to dock there. Yeah. So next up, we have the lander to build, and there's a successful docking. So next up, we're building the lander. So Oh yeah, and right here, I don't know what was wrong with those electronics or those robotics. Like when I tested it, you might have seen earlier, it extended perfectly, but right there it wouldn't. So I just had to deal with that not extending out those hinges. But it looked fine anyway, so I kept it. So there's my lander. I was pretty, it's a pretty nice design. I was really proud of it. And of course, I took use of that silver fairing color. And it's 2 stages, but it's not really like the Apollo lunar lander's 2-stage. It's more of the first stage gets the lander down to Ike, right, and it lands, and then it also launches the lander back into orbit. But after it's in orbit, the second stage will go off, and then it will do all the rendezvous stuff and the encounter. So yeah, it looks pretty cool. I really like that design of a lander. So this will house 2 Kerbonauts down to the surface, and it has those DLC surface module parts in, along with some RTGs and science materials. So yeah, so now this one has those junior docking ports, so it's gonna go onto that the smaller 5 docking ports on top of the Habitation module. So all the modules I didn't launch any crew with them. I just decided launch all the modules remotely, then have a separate ship that will launch all the crew. I think that's just the best way to do it. So yeah, of course I'm using that silver fairing color, very nice looking. And yeah, so this rocket turned out nice. And yeah, I also like that orange fuel tank color. Makes it looks really nice with the silver in my opinion. And yeah, so I just wish they'd make a new variant for the Mammoth engine, like just like a single bell engine. I don't know, maybe that's a Rhino already, but who knows. Or maybe just new colors. I also like those flags, and when I was building this, I didn't know that we could actually change the size of the flag, but I found out later. Oh yeah, and as you can see, I keep naming these for Tylo, and originally I was going to have this mission go to Tylo, but I was like, I've been to Tylo before and I've never been to Ike, believe it or not. So I just decided, let's go to Ike. So yeah, I hope you guys aren't mad at me. So there we are, setting up the orbit. See, we have a ton of Delta V. We have way more than we need. I just like to go overkill. Yeah, and this time I actually show you setting up the orbit stuff. So yeah. So the space station. Oh yeah, as you can see, the orbit it got into Kerbin, but I fixed that later off screen. So don't worry about me crashing the lander into the atmosphere of Kerbin. There's a cool little cinematic shot right there. But anyways, there's me skipping over to the docking for the sake of time. Yeah, and I learned to dock like 5 years ago, or not 5 years, 5 months ago. So don't judge my docking skills, they're not very good. But I still get the job done, so yeah. So second Kerbal Space Program video, tell me what you think below. I'm just learning how to do this, so tell me if you have any suggestions, what you want for the next video. And yeah, I see all your comments, so yeah, tell me what you guys want. So this is a crew module right here. What this will do is it'll launch our 3 Kerbonauts to the space station, where then they will go to the Ike system, and then after they landed on Ike and they're back at Kerbin, this vessel will also carry the Kerbonauts back to Kerbin. So yeah, it kind of looks like a mix of the Apollo and the Orion spacecraft. So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And of course, I'm playing in sandbox mode, so I didn't really need that launch escape system tower thing, whatever. But I think it looks really nice on a rocket, so I kept it. So yeah, here I actually learned how to resize I learned that I could actually resize the flags. So now you can actually see what the flag says. So yeah, if you haven't noticed by now, I really like putting my monopropellant tanks inside the reaction wheel. So call it cheating or not, but I think it looks pretty sleek. And this time, yeah, I'm just using those kickbacks, and I'm using the Ariane 5 like variant of the solid rocket boosters, even though this is not even like close in Ariane 5, but I think it looks pretty cool, so just kept it like that. So yeah, cool little rocket right there. So there's the launch, and slowly doing our gravity turn right there, and of course the separation was successful, unlike the last 900,000 times I've tried to separate boosters. Just kidding. But yeah, it's a little cinematic shot on the cosmos. Alright, there's a fairing deployment. The launch escape tower is gone, and we are deploying the solar panels. Cool. So yeah, now I just set up the encounter with the space station, and we just need to dock there after we get into orbit. So yeah, cool. Yeah, we're setting up that encounter there. Of course, this is sped up. I don't set up my encounters that fast at all. I wish I could, though. I bet some people like Strats and Blitz you could just do it like 2 seconds, but of course I'm just getting started, so it takes me a while. But I get the job done, like I said. A little cross splitter there, and we are getting in for docking. That docking turned out really nice. I liked how that turned out. So there we are. We have the space station complete. Now we just need to go to Duna, and then from Duna get an encounter with Ike. That's how I'm gonna do it. So yeah. Oh yeah, I'm also transferring the crew now. I got some practice with a jetpack because I'm not too good with that. So yeah, just crashing into everything. But yeah. So pretty much what we'll do is I set up the time warp to I set up the time warp. That way we'd have an encounter with Duna, and then I just played around with those maneuver nodes, and then I accidentally got into a encounter with Jewel. Then I was like, oh wait, that's Jewel, that's not Duna. So yeah, and then I was like, okay, we need to get it with Duna, and I finally got the right encounter with Duna. And then yeah, and of course yeah, now we're just getting the lowest periapsis as possible so we don't need to spend as much fuel. And then yeah, burning our fuel. And then yeah, one problem with the space station was that it was really hard to like turn it, so I had to use a lot of monopropellant. Yeah, so I skipped to our orbit around Duna right there. So yeah, now I'm trying to set up an encounter with Ike, so I've successfully done so there. And then now we're just completing the burn. That way we have that encounter, and once we get a low periapsis, we will burn retrograde until we get an orbit around Ike. And there we go, we have a good orbit around Ike. So now our Kerbonauts are getting ready for their descent onto the Ikean or Ikea surface. Yeah, nice little cinematic shot there again. And I think one of my clips before, there was actually a solar eclipse and the moon was blocking the sun. But anyways, there's a landing right there. The Kerbonauts look very happy, and of course I kind of screwed up the landing like the first time, so I had to quick save it. But yeah, there we go, tumbling down the ladder, planting the flag, saying that yay, it's my first landing on Ike. Take a soil sample and set up these science instruments. Of course it doesn't matter because it's a sandbox mode, but it's still fun. It looks pretty cool to have all these instruments on board, or these surface science things on board. It's kind of a pain to deploy them. I wish the Kerbonauts could carry like 2 or 3 at once instead of just 1, but can't complain. So yeah, now we're using that first stage to get back into orbit around Ike and to set up a encounter with our mothership, the space station. So yeah, we've got a successful orbit, didn't need too much delta V there. Yeah, and then we set up that encounter right there. Cool, and just complete that short little burn there, and we're all set. And now I just skipped to the docking, of course, and you can see we're at our second stage there. Looks super cool. Yeah, now we're just docking. Yeah, so if you haven't seen my delta V readings, I didn't think it was enough to get back to Kerbin. So Next video, I'm gonna mount a rescue mission because these guys are now stuck in orbit around Ike. So probably I'm just gonna launch a tanker and then just refuel this whole thing, this giant space station, and bring them home. So yeah, so we're stranded. But anyways, if you liked the video, make sure to like and hit that subscribe button. Also, leave all your lovely thoughts and comments down below, and I will reply to you as soon as possible.